for you Christian filmmakers out there, you're going to hit a place where you just want to quit. And doing what we do, it does seem like it's insanity. But because there is a God, and because of Christ, and through him, I believe I could do all things. And because of that, don't quit. Don't stop. Especially an industry that so desperately needs the voice of those who believe.
Welcome to the Spencer Whiteout podcast. Rated R.
You have some criminal charges with you, bro. It's like we're avoiding the shark. Call it leather fetish, dude.
No, great turbo neck guy.
I'll give you a kiss. You give me your number.
That checked out a ton, dude. Tell me you felt it.
We're Americans. We're the ones that are descendants from the 1776 musket-bearing motherfuckers.
Welcome to the Spencer Whiteout podcast, where we collect experiences as badges, memories as treasures, and stories as wealth. In this episode, I interview filmmaker and living legend Abel Vang, a mentor of mine. Also joining us is Andrew Baer, producer extraordinaire and senior man in charge. Some highlights of our conversation include big breaks, aka winning the Doritos Super Bowl ad competition, winning the Nicholl Award, what it's like to work normal jobs while still pursuing the film dream, submitting plans to the Lord, advice for Christian filmmakers, the ever-changing nature of the elusive film industry, and much more. Let's dive in. All right, guys, welcome back to the Spencer Whiteout podcast. Who do we have on today? Introduce yourselves.
Abel Vang.
Andrew Baer.
First off, we got to talk about Andrew's big news, but bigger. Your Doritos Super Bowl ad win.
Big news, but bigger.
How do you feel about this, Andrew?
Doritos. Yeah.
It's a pretty crazy opportunity, honestly. Doritos held a video contest for their Super Bowl commercial this year. They haven't run this contest for around 10 to 15 years. Like, it's been a long time. They used to do it a lot. And there was a Biola student who had won a couple of years. But yeah, there were so many submissions. Friends and I came together and wanted to do our best and make something for it. And then we won. It's pretty crazy. I think that honestly, we knew it was strong. We knew it would be top 3. But when it gets to top 3, it became a voting contest. And that's where like the quality of the production doesn't really matter at that point, when it's about how well can you do like social media marketing.
Popularity contest.
Exactly. Which isn't luck either. There's a huge skill to that. But it was just a whole different kind of contest at that point.
So what were some of the things that you guys did to promote on social media?
Yeah, well, it was really like Dylan and Nate who were like the leaders behind that. And they've already built up a social following on Instagram and TikTok. But I was helping them produce the content for all of that. And their goal was, let's put out 3 to 4 pieces of content a day, which is insane.
Most impressive.
They were working like 18-hour each day, just grinding on like what's the next kind of thing we can post. They were editing everything, shooting everything. You know how there are those videos when maybe you guys don't scroll as much as I do, but there's like the attention grabbing hooks that start and then it cuts away to somebody else just like advertising their service to you. So we did a few of those. We did some that are like random sketches. We did some behind the scenes content, just trying to fill out 3 posts a day however we could. But I think it was the total accumulation of like, let's get all of the extended network of all the crew and all the talent involved that really made it pull through.
That's right. I was voting every day for like a month. So
Yeah.
I helped push you over the finish line.
That's right.
We don't know if the votes actually did anything. I was talking to Andrew. I was like, I think it's a stolen election. I think it's a rigged election.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you're Doritos in that case, do you really want to leave it up to votes, or do you want the votes to just inform your decision about what is going to be most popular with people? But then you also want to think about the direction you're taking your brand and your brand goals for that year. I don't know any insider info, but my guess would be that the votes are just one part of how they picked the winner from the top 3. I don't know.
So my favorite ad that you guys did was the gluing however many Doritos to the wall.
Day 1 of coming to my room with 1 Dorito per share. You might be wondering, Nate, why are you doing this?
Yeah, so Nate has a great mind for social media. Like, he knows the kinds of things that will go viral. And he made a post about how I was a contestant on Beast Games, and so I lost $5 million, but now I have an opportunity to win $1 million through this contest. And I'm going to hot glue one Dorito onto my wall for every share this video gets. So if you want to destroy my room, then share this video. Within a week, there were 18,000 shares on that reel.
Wow, that's good.
I was in so many different group chats of him trying to bring people to his house to help him glue Doritos to the wall, which is just like ridiculous. It smelled horrid in there, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
You know, but it was amazing. Like, he's super dedicated to it. And part of like the fun for the audience is like watching the creator have to like go through something difficult because they helped contribute to that situation. And like, it's a really direct engagement. And the last 24 hours had Nate and Dylan live streaming, like the most direct form of engagement you can get. And it was when people got to watch Nate keep hot gluing Doritos to the wall. And then Dylan was just going to say Dorito 100,000 times. And he had a counter going so that each time he hit the space bar, like it went up by one, and he would say Dorito, 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 Dorito. And people loved it. And so people tuned in. Doritos' official Instagram account joined the live stream and started like chatting with them. Zach King joined the live stream and made the follower count go from 30 to 5,000 within seconds. All sorts of people came through because they just wanted to see these two dudes suffer for a Doritos contest, and it was hilarious. I think that push really like made it happen in the end.
Yeah, and you briefly mentioned the prize. So what was all in the prize?
It was $1 million, a trip to the Super Bowl, and then having it aired at the Super Bowl, which is honestly like the most valuable of them all. Because one of them is going to like set up a career for you if things fall correctly.
Well, and the most inspiring part of the story, we don't have to get into too much detail, but the fact that they went into some debt, took out some loans, they were betting hard on themselves in order to make this happen, dude. So this was like a massive production.
Yeah, they took a huge risk on it. That's the same as like a lot of us are doing, right? With like Space Waves, we took on loans to make that. And then with the Knight and Squire pilot we shot last year, it's like our business took on debt for that, because you just need to like swing really big to make something take off. And then this is a case where like it took off and it landed really well, which is exciting because there are a lot more swings than there are like home runs. You know?
It's a homer into the left field stand.
Well, let's bring Abel into the podcast. So Abel, how did we all meet?
I think it was fall of 2018 at Biola.
That's right.
I think that's when I started there, and I met both of you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been quite a bit.
Yeah. That was which class?
I remember, Spencer, it was, for you, it was senior portfolio, right? Senior thesis class.
Yeah. And then what was the other one that you taught there?
Film finance.
I think I taught that
That was the next year.
the following year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they had me at visual aesthetics too. I'm not sure if that was the first year or not, but I would have to go back and look.
Yeah.
Did you get to request teaching those classes, or is that what you were assigned?
It was interesting because when I first started, I thought they would give me, you know, the first year student courses, but right when I was hired, Gary, who was the interim chair at the time, said, hey, we're going to give you all the senior classes. And so it was a bit of a shock. I think it was 2 sections or maybe 3 sections of senior portfolio that first year.
And that's probably nice because the workload as a professor is probably less for that, right? Or maybe not. I don't know.
I would say no, because with senior portfolio, the way that the course was designed was, you know, every student was trying to do their own, you know, senior thesis project. And so the way a regular course is designed, where you have three hours a week lecture, it just doesn't work for a class like senior portfolio. And that's why, like, I had to meet with students outside of the 3-hour lecture.
Right.
And
like us.
Yeah. And I did that for, you know, 4 straight years. And what was a 3-hour class ended up being, I don't know, maybe like a 10-hour, 15-hour a week for
commitment.
For just one class.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, and you opened up your office to us for office hours. So that was like one of Andrew and I's favorite memories from Biola because we had just shot Space Waves over that summer, and then we came into meeting you, and it was just super awesome how encouraging you were to us. And like, I think you were, very impressed that we had shot a feature, as students and everything. And so you helped encourage us, push us over the finish line. And we just kept going to your office, and we were like, can we just like talk and soak up the wisdom for a little bit?
Yeah, I think one of the best times I had at Biola was, in the office hours. And I think I spent more time with the office hours than the actual lectures during my 4 years there as a full-time faculty. But, I always opened myself up to students. And, when I was in film school, I never really got the kind of education that I wish I had gotten. And so for me, when I came to Biola, I wanted to be able to teach students how to really apply what you learn in film school. And it's hard to do that within a 3 hours a week class. And so that's why I always encourage students to come and see me after, outside of a class. And yeah, obviously you guys both really took advantage of that.
Well, and also like you viewed this as a ministry, like you felt God's calling for you to be here. So you were like, hey, I'm here to pour out my wisdom and help and encourage people along the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, when I was in film school, I felt like a lot of my professors, and this is outside of Biola, I won't name the institution, but I felt like some of the professors really held back certain things. And it made total sense because, they were teaching students that were about to go out and compete directly with them. So it made sense that some of these teachers, looking back in hindsight, why didn't they mention this before? That could have saved me a year. But with myself, it's, I look at this like this is my ministry. This is what I'm called to do. If God has gifted me with certain talents and I can pass on that talent to, my students, I really want them to go out there and not just, succeed, but really be a beacon for Christ. So,
yeah. Do you feel like God is calling your ministry somewhere else right now, or is it still in the university?
I'm no longer full-time at Biola. Of course, I get called back every now and then to teach 1 or 2 courses as an adjunct. I don't think that my calling is at the university or in academia, although I do love just the teaching itself. I really enjoy that. The admin work, not so much.
That's fair.
But I'm completely open to where, Christ takes me. And I have no clue where he's going to take me next. But I'm completely open.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, Abel, what was it like you seeing Space Waves and seeing Andrew and I's project finally come out and come to fruition?
It's amazing. I think, you go to film school, right? And you do a bunch of shorts. But then in the real world, students want to go out there and succeed and make their features or, TV shows. And I always feel like teaching students to make shorts, it's like showing them how to hike, I don't know, maybe out at a hill in Orange County. But then when they make the feature, it's like, okay, go climb Everest now. And it's like, dude, you can't, it doesn't really translate that well over. And the fact that you guys both went out and made a feature while you were still in film school, that's so great. I wish students would just do that, because I think the learning process of making a feature, it's vastly different from just making a short.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Especially with all the things that come after you're done with an export.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was just a really full circle moment, because it did take us a few years, even after graduating Biola, to finish it. And then we came back and we did a screening at Biola, and you were there, and you helped us with a little Q&A. You hosted that. And that was just a really, really wholesome moment. Yeah, good memory.
I remember buying one of the shirts, and my wife today still wears it. It's one of her favorite shirts.
Oh, good.
I'm not even joking. Yeah.
A lot of our shirts, they had terrible print quality, and they would fade super fast, or they flake off.
Cheapest shirts you could find on the internet, really.
I don't know. It was through Shopify, so we thought it was going to be good, but only some of the products were good. The rest, I think our favorite products were the Space Waves Tower towel, and then the mug as well, because you can't really mess those up,
Does she have the one that just has the logo, or does
I think it's just the logo that's in purple.
Nice.
Yeah.
And she loves the color.
That's great.
So let's rewind a little bit. Abel, how did you get into film?
Ooh. I mean, before the Nicholl, I was a film student, grad school, taking a complete 180. I was in my undergrad, I was pre-med and didn't want to go to med school. Broke my parents' dreams for me. But in film school, again, I don't want to put this institution on blast, but the tuition was high enough already, but we really didn't have equipment. And this is like at a time where digital cinema was very, very new. Like the Red One barely came out. And so for any student to shoot a thesis short, they would spend upwards of 100 to 250 grand. This is
wow.
And this is outside of tuition. And
so this is all just like rich kids with money who could succeed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And it's no joke because if you wanted to shoot, you would have to go to Burbank and like rent a 35 millimeter camera and then shoot on actual film and then get that film developed. And of course, I mean, who could do that? Like, it's
So did everybody make thesis projects that were short films, or did people just write a screenplay?
So that's what I did.
Nice.
I said, okay, and this is, me with my, my walk with God. I say, Lord, I don't have the money. I can't shoot anything, but here I am in film school that, you led me here. So just give me an idea, and I'll pour out my heart, my soul, my sweat into this story. Give me just one story. That's all I need. Sort of like, David with just the stones, just, and you bless it. And I'll work on this thing for 3 years and see where it goes. And it was a story that I had written and rewritten. And not just by myself, but with my brother.
Did your brother come with you to film school?
No, he wasn't in film school. He was in grad school, but he was working on his MFA in creative writing. So there's a little bit of a, overlap there with what I was doing. And then I remember, really distinctly remember, I was in this really small little apartment. I think it was on Crenshaw. And it was the deadline for the Nicholl. And I tried to submit the script that we had written, but my credit card declined. And I remember calling my brother. I'm like, dude, we got to get in. This is like the deadline. It's tonight. And if we miss it, we got to wait another year.
And what's the Nicholl?
So the Nicholl is a competition that's run by the Academy, none other than the Academy. And it's open to anyone around the world. And every year they choose 5 feature scripts as the winners. And so I figured, you know what, maybe we have a shot, because all I did in grad school was write a script. And this is the only thing I got out of it, right? And so I remember calling my brother. And
and debt, right?
That and debt, yeah. And I remember calling him and asking him, hey, Burley, could you give me your credit card number? And he's like, wait, I don't know if I have money in it.
He's like, I don't give credit card numbers over the phone.
But, he's like, oh, I haven't paid for the bills yet. I should have at least $40 in it. And so I ended up putting it in and submitting it, and it went through. And sure enough, a few months later, we had won the Nicholl. Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible. And how many years after film school was that?
That was literally a few months after film school. So I graduated in May of 2011, and by October, we had won. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have a good feeling about it when you submitted, or did you think it was just going to get passed over?
We had a really good feeling. And this is something that, like I tell students too, you have to look at your target audience, right? And so who were we writing for? Well, let's look at who the target audience are. Okay, so they're Academy folks. Okay, so who's in the Academy? Okay, let's look at the demographics. Okay, mostly over 50. Okay, I think at the time it was 60 or 70% Caucasian. So I'm like, okay, if I write a historical war drama story set in the 70s, these guys would know this time pretty well. So it's right up their alley. And then we also did our homework. We looked at all the scripts that had won or had been nominated for best screenplay for the last 10 years and, try to find some kind of pattern. And so we wrote specifically for that target audience. We wrote specifically for Academy members.
Mm-hmm. What was the pattern you found from looking at the other winners?
I mean, a lot of great war, a lot of great war scripts, a lot of great war stories. But this was a war story they've never seen before. Because it was told through the eyes of a child. So we knew we had a really, really good chance. We didn't think we were going to win, but I remember telling my brother, hey, if we get top 100, if we get to the quarterfinals, I'm already happy. But sure enough, the Lord continued to, just open those doors, and we kept going up and up and up until we got the phone call from the Academy.
Wow.
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 And then what was the title of that script?
It's called The Tiger's Child. Yeah.
The Eye of the Tiger.
That'll be the intro opening credit song.
Right. And then what was the story in that?
So the story is inspired, by the true events that my parents lived through during the 60s and the 70s. The CIA went into Laos, the country of Laos, and recruited the tribal Hmong men and children to fight a proxy war for the CIA. And this was actually the largest paramilitary operation in the history of the CIA. And they so happened to have recruited folks like my dad and his brothers. And my dad was only 16 when he was, training. So kids as young as nine put out into the battlefield.
Wow.
Yeah, that's terrible.
To fight a proxy war. So this was that story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What did your parents think of the screenplay?
Oh yeah, like my mom, like she still has I think she's got PTSD. like a lot of nights were spent just talking with my parents about what their journey was like. My mom was actually born in a CIA military base in Laos. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, it's a crazy story, and like I bet if we wrote this, we might have a good chance of winning because it's actually based on all, true events that my parents lived through.
Well, you have a story that almost nobody else can tell, right? There,
right.
Not a lot of people who have that experience.
And that was one of the things that I asked myself, even in prayer, like Lord, give me a story that only I can tell. Give me a story that nobody can tell as good as I can tell. So it took me a long time to reach inward and find that story. Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like the perfect combination of kind of what the Academy was looking for and also something close to your heart, close to home, that you were able to just put those together and make something really incredible.
Yeah. Hopefully one day we can make it.
Is that still the dream? Is that like the project you're working towards?
I mean, it's kind of in the back burner now. I'm working, on various different projects, but it's the one where it's like, what? If I could do this, let's put it this way: if I could only make one movie in my lifetime, which movie would it be? Right? What would that be? Then yeah, it would be this one. Mm-hmm. So I'm still waiting for that opportunity, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get to make it, but I've got hopes.
Yeah,
it's like a big budget movie.
Well, the way it was written, yeah, it's huge. It's a big budget, but I've been contemplating on, and I'm thinking that it doesn't have to be live action. Like it could be animated or it could be stop motion. So like my brother and I, we're both open to that idea of not having to make this thing live action. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then let's talk about the $1 million check.
From
something. You had $1 million check to make a movie, right, Abel?
Oh, right.
Your
yeah.
first movie?
Yeah. Well, after winning the Nicholl, yeah, it was actually very difficult during this time. Even after winning the Nicholl, it was very hard to find representation.
And did you think, all the doors need to just open now that I won this thing?
Yeah. So, like it's the thing that you always expect. Okay. Yeah. This, this big thing happened. And now I guess all I have to do is just walk right through the doors and everybody's just going to high five me and
welcome me with open arms.
Right. But it was not like that at all. We almost couldn't get representation off of winning. And it was very disheartening because, even folks who didn't win, who just placed, they all were able to get, representation. So it was very difficult. And so we figured, what, if we already have this stamp of approval from the Academy, if we can't go the traditional route of trying to get a movie off the ground through the, studio system, and let's deduce it down. Like, what do you actually need to make a movie? What is that? Money. If you have that, right, then if you have a budget, you have the finances, then you could actually go make a movie. And so we went out to private equity financiers, and we were able to, put together $1 million, and we made our first feature, and we were able to nab distribution with that first feature, and then we got our second movie, and and it just continues to snowball.
Right. Well, we can't gloss over that. How do you just get $1 million for your first feature?
Well, yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of crazy. The thing is, again, finding your target audience. But the one thing that film school teaches you is they teach you, look inward and write something you're passionate about. All that's true too. But at the same time, it's really a business, and you have to understand that you want to make a piece of product that's going to land competitively in the marketplace. So you guys know me, like I work in the horror space and primarily, and of course this first feature was a big deviation from the script that had won the Nicholl. That's a historical war drama, but we went ahead and made this horror feature. And when we presented it to, the prospective financiers, they were immediately hooked because, we had identified the market. We identified, okay, this is what horror films do in the marketplace. And we knew that, horror being sort of this universal language across cultures, we were confident that we could sell this movie. We were confident that we would get picked up. And sure enough, we did get picked up. And we sold the movie 3 weeks out of wrapping production.
Right on.
Yeah.
Didn't you sell it with just a trailer?
Yes, we did. We sold it with just a trailer. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like making your first feature film?
Oh, I mean, it was scary because, I had never done something that big before. Like kind of like what I said earlier, you're in film school, you do these shorts, it's like hiking in Orange County. And now you're, about to embark on, conquer Everest. And that's really what it felt like. But we were, fortunate enough to have a lot of folks, who were very collaborative. And we learned a lot from that experience too. One of the things that I took out of that is, when you go and shoot a feature, you want to, especially if you're doing this independently, you want to identify what your trailer is going to look like beforehand. So you go and shoot it and you've already identified all the scenes that could possibly be in the trailer, because at the end of the day, whoever's going to pick up your film has to be able to sell it. And so it makes their job so much easier if they could identify what the trailer is going to look like.
The same kind of thing happens in YouTube, where YouTubers are deciding which videos to shoot based on the strength of the title and thumbnail. If the title and thumbnail are really good and they know it'll get clicks, then you can commit the money to shoot the video.
It's the same thing with making a feature. And so that's one thing that we learn. And the second thing that I learned about shooting long form, and that's something that you don't learn in film school, is how do you enter a scene and how do you exit a scene? And you have to do it in such a way where you could stitch all the scenes together in a fashion where you won't lose your audience within 90 minutes. That's very, very difficult to do, and that's something that I really never knew when I was in film school, because you're only looking at shorts that are like 5 minutes to 15 minutes. But when you're looking at something that's 90 minutes long, you have to really give it some thought, how you enter a scene, how you exit a scene.
Yeah. And then talk about your bond with your brother during this time and you guys working together. Have you guys just always been partners like that? With
films, yes. The funny thing is, we're only 2 years apart.
Who's older?
My brother's older, so I'm the younger one. And it's funny because when we were kids, my parents would always dress us up the same. And I'm funny story. I remember, I may have been in the first grade, and I remember Burley. He went and he had beat up this kid. And
he was a bully.
Yeah, well,
Burley the bully.
he had beat up this kid, and I remember I was at recess. This kid comes crying, pointing his finger at me with the teacher. And I'm like, what? Like, I didn't do anything, but I was wearing the same exact jacket like Burley was wearing. And so then I got put on detention. So I was standing against the wall with all the kids that were in detention, and I'm standing there, and then I see my brother walk by me with a smug look, and immediately I knew like what had happened. So I was so angry that I ran off and I tried to hit him. I chased after him, and he ran, and he went and told the teacher, and the teacher came to me like, "This is your second time, Abel. Second time." I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Betrayal.
Right? But the thing is, with my brother and I, we've always had this connection, especially to, storytelling. We always seem to be on the same page. We have the same taste. And I think that's what's allowed us to be able to work together for so long and to work well together. We have this motto where it's not about whose idea, it's about the best idea. Mm-hmm. And because of that, then, it really helps us to be able to work off of each other and try to reach that best idea.
Did you guys write and direct and produce your first feature together?
Yeah, we did.
So you were spending like all of every day together for the entire period.
Yeah.
And don't you direct all your films together?
Yes.
Yeah. If you're going to direct.
Yeah, if we're going to direct, we direct together. Yeah.
Yeah.
on this new project. Are you guys directing it?
Yes, we are.
Nice.
Yeah.
The brothers are back.
The Vang Bros, let's go. But right before you guys did your first feature, what was it like working a normal job, operating a restaurant, and you were just like grinding nonstop and you just still had that dream?
Yeah, we were operating a restaurant that we had named the UF-PHO, like UFO, but pho, like pho noodles.
I didn't know that. That's fun.
It was really cool. I think it was really, really rad because our I don't know if you've ever been to a pho restaurant, but they have, bowl sizes, right? Mm-hmm. Like your small, medium, large. But for us, we had different labels. The small was Pluto. And if you want a medium size, you go for the Jupiter. But if you want large, it's Galaxy. and if you go Galaxy, you have the option of getting green noodles, which is really, really cool. But yeah, we had this restaurant that was going really, really well. But, we felt God calling us to Los Angeles and to pursue this. And it was a very, very hard decision because it's like, do I stay here and, I already have something here that's going for me and it's stable, or do I pick up and go and not know where my life is going to be? Well, let's look at how people in scripture have responded. I'm like, all right, I guess so. Abraham picked up and went. And so we literally did the same thing.
And where were you living?
At this time, Fresno. So Fresno, California is where I was, born and raised. We had a restaurant in Fresno, lots of relatives in Fresno. Church is there, pastors, friends, relatives. And we just basically picked up and left everything behind.
Was this first spot where you guys were working, or was it also the family business?
It was a joint, business, with me and my brother. You
guys started it?
Yeah, we started it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, but we had won the Nichols, and it was like, it was the calling card. And we actually tried to just, drive to LA to take meetings. And again, this is like way like prior to COVID. And if you wanted to be in the industry, like you physically had to be here. And it was just too hard to like drive to LA each time. And even though Fresno's only, 3.5 hours, 4 hours away, we knew we couldn't. And so literally packed up our bags and we said, hey, God, you know what, you'll have to provide. If this is where you want us to go, you'll provide. And been out here for over 12 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. And I remember also like when we were calling Abel, you were talking to me about some good quotes here that I wrote down. You said, what is the dream and what am I doing every day to get closer to that?
Yeah, I think, I look at a day, you've got 8 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours. And if I'm spending those hours doing something else other than what, God has called me to do, then I'm really, working against my dream or working against the thing that God has called me to do. And so I do spend the bulk of my day working towards that dream. Yeah. And
so when it was slow in the restaurant, you were writing screenplays and doing all that, right?
It was difficult because we knew that we couldn't do both. And I've come to realize that now too, as I'm older. Yeah, with the family now, it's you can't spread yourself too thin, or else you just kind of lose everything. You water down everything that you do. And so for me, it's you can't be lukewarm in anything you do. You either are all in or you just don't do it at all. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what did you guys do with the business?
We just left it.
So does someone else operate it now?
Someone else operated it for a time being, and then I think they sold it to somebody else, and now it's completely it's different now. It's not the same.
So it's not like Galaxy Pho anymore?
No, it's not anymore. Yeah.
Dang. I was going to say it'd be fun to go visit, but
yeah,
it's completely different now.
And then Abel, talk about like the importance of working on your craft every day.
Oh, yeah. I liken it to, folks who go to the gym. Like, I don't go to the gym, though. I wish I had time. You don't get the look. You don't get the muscles overnight. But you got to go and put in the work every single day. You got to exercise those muscles. What those muscles are? Your creative muscles, your producing muscles, your screenwriting muscles, your directing muscles. You have to craft that and work at that every single day. And you might not see the results. You might not think that there are going to be any results, but a year later, 2 years later, those results are going to show, and they're going to show big time. And so for me, like I've come to notice that over the years, making multiple features. I don't let it stop me. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I'm not just, waiting on one project to go. I always set up multiple projects and, keep myself busy with it. And of course, you can never guess which one's going to fly first, but you have to keep yourself open.
And the importance of having multiple irons in the fire, basically.
Yes. Yeah. In this industry, that's almost it's part of the ingredients. You just have to do it.
Yeah. Always having more arrows in the quiver, more screenplays written, more ammunition, basically.
Yes.
And when you did Bedeviled, was that one out of multiple projects you had?
That was one out of the multiple ideas that we had.
Okay.
Yeah. But we ended up choosing that one because that was for the time being and measuring that against, our skill level. Like that was the one that was the most attainable for that time.
I can't remember if you had other ideas besides Space Waves when.
No, dude, that was it.
Just that one.
Yeah, and I hadn't even written anything longer than 9 pages, and then it was just like, we're gonna 10x that, and so then it was like, all right, now 90-page movie, full-length feature inspired by my real life. And it was just the story that was burning on my heart that I just needed to write and I wanted to write, and it was a catharsis for me as well, because I was working through that best friend breakup that I went through in high school. So, a few years later after that, I was just like, I'm writing this story and this is my way of contextualizing the story, moving on from it, learning from it, trying to see the other character, the other person's perspective. So I had to look outside of myself, try to put myself in Joey's shoes, or in this case, Roman's shoes, and figure out like, hey, it's okay. Like, people move on, people's life paths change. And that was just something that was hard for me to like get a grasp on, like that seasons change, but you can't hold on to the bitterness. You got to embrace forgiveness and understand that seasons change and it's okay.
How long would you say you were holding on to the idea of Space Waves before starting to write it?
Bro, no, there was no holding on. It was just like, we're going for this. Like, because I remember like we were like planning and pre-proing and everything before like the screenplay was even like locked. It was just a lot of, hey, I have all this excitement and I have all this passion and inspiration. So here's all these ideas. Let's go. And then as you know, on set, we were even rewriting things and changing things. And it was just such a fluid process. But I think, Abel, you said it really well about like the best idea wins. And so it didn't matter where the idea came from. Like, we all were really down to earth, humble. Like, we were all just there to make something really amazing and make something together. So it was really fun, and it was just a great way to be collaborative. And yeah, a lot of the ideas were even just like happy accidents that happened on set, and we're like, oh, that's amazing, let's keep that. Like Marvin tossing the keys and then he almost drops them and then he catches them with his other hand, and I was like, dude, this is amazing. Just like some of those amazing like in the moment things, or if one of the actors had wanted to change a line or had an idea, it's like, yeah, let's totally go for it. So that's the way you have to run it. You want to be collaborative. And I like what Noam Kroll says as well. Like, we need to be stubborn on the vision, but flexible on the details.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so Abel, you talk a lot about this calling and stuff, and that's really inspiring to me because I feel the same way. Another quote that you said that stuck with me is, this is the dream he's given you, and he's given you the gifts to pursue this.
Yes. It always reminds me of, the parable of the 3 servants and the talents that he gives, and sometimes like I don't know why one guy gets 10, one guy gets 5 or 3, and one guy gets 1, but that's not the point. The point is, whatever cards, the Lord has dealt with for you, you can't bury it. You got to go and make use of it. And so, yeah, God's given everybody gifts, and whatever that may be, but you take that and you've got to do all that you can with it. But with that said, and I don't know any other pathway in life because I've never, done anything else really other than be a filmmaker. But I can say this, it is an arduous path, man. It's an arduous journey. Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure you guys both know.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. There's no set path. You're just hacking away bushes with your machete, trying to find a way.
Yeah.
Trailblazing, right?
Mm-hmm. I think if I were to go into any other profession where I was comfortable, right? Like if I had not gone to film school and then actually went to med school and practiced medicine or whatever it may be, I don't know if I would be a Christ follower.
Whoa. What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
It's a big claim.
And the reason why I say that is because I look at how wretched we are and myself. If I can go work at a good job, get paid really, really handsomely well, then I would look at it and say, I did it. I did all of it. Mm-hmm. And I think that would draw me away from God, as much as I like to believe that no, I'll be a great Christian. No, I don't think I would have been. And I think God knew that. And that's why he put me on this path where it's like, no, you're going to struggle like crazy. You're going to doubt like crazy. It's going to hurt. You're going to suffer. But through all of that, you will have your eyes strictly on me, because you will come to know that only I can make anything happen in your life.
Yeah, I feel like independent filmmakers who are also Christian are forced into this situation of dependency on God for all of like our work that we want to do in film and to pay the bills and everything that comes with that. It makes no sense to like claim that you did it yourself.
Yeah, and speaking of the path, Abel, can you read this quote here? This is a direct quote from you.
This path is harder and rockier. It has way more uncertainty than other paths. Will your faith be rocked and tested? Absolutely. Doubts? Yes. Anger? Yes. Confusion? Yes. But the one thing I can say for sure, it has led me to a holier life, a closer walk with Jesus.
Yeah, I love that. But yeah, it's just such an inspiring story, Abel, just like all the faith that you've had, and just you can't see 10 steps ahead of you, but like all you need is the one, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, also the Christian mentors who are also succeeding in film are few and far between, right? Who are like holding the faith and encouraging other people to do the same and actually crediting Jesus with how they got to where they are. So keep it up.
Yeah. So Abel, how many films did you make before you came to Biola and started teaching?
So yeah, I hadn't made Bedeviled, and I think the first week I started at Biola, I was in production on my second feature with What Lies Below with Mina Suvari. Yeah, we were filming that right when the semester started.
I remember a few times during class you would step out of the room to like take a production call.
Yeah.
There's just overlapping timelines on everything.
Yeah, and then we're all joking. We're like, dude, he's just doing that to flex. Like you go outside the room, you're not even on a call. Then you come back in. Oh yeah, guys, that was my producer. Oh yeah, that was my agent. Blah blah blah. But you were taking real calls, weren't you?
What's that?
You were taking real calls.
Yeah. 'Cause we were filming it in New York. So I remember I flew out there with the camera package with all the lenses. I had to get everything set up for the editor in New York because we shot out in Glens Falls.
Why didn't you just rent from New York? Is it pretty far from the city where you were shooting?
Yeah, so Glens Falls is upstate. And, you know, looking back in hindsight, I think we could have just done it all here in California, maybe shot a Big Bear.
Yeah.
But, you know, we ended up flying so many people from LA out there because unless you're shooting in Manhattan, then it makes sense. But if you're shooting outside of Manhattan, like all the resources, like it was actually cheaper to get people from Los Angeles and to get equipment from Los Angeles because, it was like, I can't really remember what the prices were, but I remember it was astronomical getting stuff, even equipment from Manhattan.
Yeah.
So,
dang.
So yeah, like I flew out there with lenses and camera gear and
yeah. What did you guys shoot that on?
Arri Alexa, on my Alexa actually.
I didn't know you own one.
Yeah, they're cheap now. I mean, they're even cheaper than what I bought them for. Like you could find a good used Alexa. I mean, if you don't mind, you know, carrying a tank with you, I think it weighs a ton. It's like $3,000 on eBay now. Certain places. I can't believe it. That's the same camera that was used on Skyfall.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't think you could imagine that when you were in film school back in 2011.
No. Like there were no digital cameras for anybody to shoot on. So
what was that transition like, going from film to digital, like learning that new medium?
You know, I'm a firm, believer of looking at film, looking forward. And what I mean by that You know, when I was in film school, you know, the way that I was taught by, I don't know, I feel like I was taught by dinosaurs. They taught us like how to make a film like if we were still living in the 70s. The landscape was completely changing and no one really prepped us for it. Like, you know, I've had professors tell me, I'll pay no heed to the internet. There's no way to monetize it. And I'm like, what? And then we graduated. And
didn't age well.
Yeah, Netflix blows up and it's like, oh, I was a firm believer of, oh yeah, you know, there's no way digital could take over a film because of the dynamic range, the film celluloid, that look. It's so good that how could digital ever overtake this? And I look back at that statement in hindsight, I'm like, dude, what was I on? Like, I don't want to shoot in film. Like and even then, back then, like there was no such thing as reframing. Like
what you shot is what you got.
Yeah, and that's it, you know. But now,
and you can't just watch it playback either.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah. You had to wait till you get the film in the can and it developed at photo cam, and then you drive up to Burbank and then you watch it. It's like, oh, that's what we shot like last week. Wow, you know.
So you're a firm believer in digital now?
Of whatever tech that's on the horizon. I'd say this, you know, I tell young filmmakers today, like, don't make films like if you're doing films for today. Look at films and make something like if you're doing it for tomorrow, because you don't know what's on the horizon. You don't know what new tech that's available to you now. And what it's done is I think it's even the playing field. And I wish, you know, I got my start at a time like this when the tech and the equipment that you could get today, it's the same thing that the studios are using, and you could get it for a fraction of what it costs.
Well, yeah, and we shot our feature on a Red, which was insane, and just the fact that we were able to do all those reshoots and reframing and re-editing, like, and the fact that it looks as great as it does. I mean, Connor was a great DP, but yeah, it's just kind of shocking that like we are able to make that in, you know, the end of the 2010s and early into 2020s.
And depending on how you look at it, like, yeah, we were paying for film school, but in hard costs of equipment, we didn't pay anything.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that was included in our film tuition, was being able to take advantage of the equipment library.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best things about Biola is that students have access to equipment like day one. Like that's kind of unheard of. Yeah,
that was one of the big draws of Biola, and the other most valuable part was just the network and the connections and being aligned with all these other Christian filmmakers. But yeah, circling back to Biola, so what was God's leading, and how did you know that you were supposed to come to Biola for a season and teach? Because if I remember correctly, you were even telling us at the time, like, oh man, like this wasn't my plan, but like I know I need to be here for a time, like that kind of thing.
Even before coming to Biola, and even before going into film, I've been a teacher before, not in higher academia, but I was a substitute teacher from K through 12 grades for, I think, 5+ years. And before that, like one of my very first jobs was, you know, being a math tutor. So I've always been around, like teaching has always sort of been my thing that I sort of enjoy doing. And I remember being out here for, you know, when I moved down to Southern California, been out here for a little bit, you know, made my first features on my way to making my second. And I just had this calling where like, yeah, maybe I should teach at Biola. And I remember I remember talking with my wife about this too. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna apply to it. No, I'm not gonna put my name in the hat. And my wife was like, why? I'm like, because I think I kind of know why. That if I threw my name in the hat,
they're gonna pick me.
They're gonna pick me. And I don't think that's something I want to do. But that's just, you know, me in the flesh talking, right? But of course, you know, through prayer, I finally put my name in the hat, and sure enough.
How did you know they were looking?
Oh, yeah, because, you know, every now and then, you know, I would look around to see what was out there in terms of just, you know, teaching positions. But I never really thought about, teaching film, you know, because prior to teaching at Biola, teaching film at Biola, I was, you know, I tutored math and science. But somehow I felt like I think God wants me to be there, and you know what He's shown me for the past few years, you know, how to make a movie from the ground up, the kind of stuff that I know film students do not get because I never got that. But I remember throwing my name in the hat. I'm like, oh Lord, please don't take me there. But sure enough, you know, Gary Fisher called me, and I did this Zoom interview with him and the rest of the faculty at Biola in CMA. I knew, okay, I think this is where God wants me to be. So, you know, we think we're better than the folks we read about in Scripture. Right? We tend to think that, like, Moses, like I wouldn't have done what Moses did. I wouldn't question God. If God asked me, I'd be like, yes, I'm there, Lord. Or like Jonah, right? Like, oh man, I wouldn't go the opposite direction. But it's like so true. Human nature, like we don't like what's good. We don't want to be called. But sure enough, I heeded God's call, and I feel so blessed that I actually went to Biola and taught for 4 years. 'Cause I think it was more than just me being able to work with students there like you guys, but I think it was a big, I wouldn't call it like a awakening, but it was a big spiritual leap for me. Yeah.
What was the big spiritual leap, and what were kind of those character building moments? Like, what did you get out of Biola? Obviously, you were able to give a lot to people like Andrew and I, but how about yourself? How did that build you up?
Oh, yeah. I think I grew up in a place where, I've always lived this life where I separate church from, church was on Sundays only, right? I separate Christ from other parts of my life where it's like, okay, this is my job. So it's not about Jesus. It's about getting work done, right? And for the first time in my life, it's like, no, like Jesus is everywhere and everything in every part of my life. And that's when like it really dawned on me, like, this is how it should be. Like, why do I separate Christ from all these other things? And I put him in a box and only open that box on Sundays. Like, why is that? And going through Biola has taught me a lot in my own spiritual walk with God. And now it's like, yeah, he's in every part of my life. And I, in my prayers, I ask him, search every crevice, turn every stone, and be a part of it.
Yeah. And so also talking about integrating like your faith with your work. I remember you told Andrew and I a story one time about forgiving a backstabbing crew member and choosing to give grace to someone and second chances. So talk about that.
Yeah, it's one thing to read about it, giving grace or forgiving. It's another thing to actually put into practice. It's very, very difficult. And I had to learn that multiple times on how to do it gracefully, even when you are in the right, and I think God puts us through these places. He sets us up for these situations so that we may learn to be more Christ-like. And yeah, have I failed multiple times? Absolutely. Do I still struggle with it? Yeah, because my knee-jerk reaction is, oh, this guy screwed me over, and the anger boils up in it. But now it's like, oh, no, take a step back, just look at Jesus, look at the cross. I mean, when he was being crucified, what did he do? Oh. And then you get to see how difficult it really was for Christ. And it's how difficult it is for us to actually put it into practice and not just, preach it, but actually go through with it. And it's, yeah, I'm still learning every day. Even though I've gone through, multiple, like you said, like backstabbings, and I'm still learning every day. I'm still trying to be like Christ.
Do you want to tell a little bit of, you don't have to name names or anything, but just some of the specifics of what that looked like or how you did that?
Yeah, when a person, slips, sometimes, it's not just the work itself, but, you don't know people's personal lives. You don't know what they're going through at home. And so for me, the way I look at it is, when I'm on a movie set, like if it's my set, it's like, wow, like, thank God for this opportunity. God has blessed us with the finances to be able to put this together. So everybody that's coming here to work on this film is able to, put food on the table. And, like the blessing doesn't just stop with me or my brother, but blessing is supposed to flow through you to others. And so when I look at a movie set, I'm always trying to find a reason to keep people, not a reason to let them go. If someone is, slowing down or there's something wrong, it's always before before jumping the gun on any kind of judgment, it's best to just pull the person aside and say, hey, are you okay? are you fine? How's your day going? It changes people, and it makes people then, want to work harder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I want to jump around a little bit in the timeline because this is a fun story. Talk about getting a cold email from Clint Eastwood.
Go ahead, make my day.
And how you kind of got involved in that.
So back in 2008, it was my first year in film school, and I got this cold email from Clint's casting director saying that, oh, Warner Brothers is doing this new movie. Clint Eastwood is directing. We're looking for Hmong American actors, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, this has got to be totally fake, man. I'm Hmong American. This is some phishing scam.
Trying to take advantage of me.
Yeah, that's trying to take advantage of me. But then I was a desperate film student. And I wrote back and I said, hey, I'm a film student. Yeah, would love to help this project in any way possible. Turns out it was legit. It was Clint Eastwood's casting director, Ellen Lewis and Ellen Chenoweth. And so I ended up putting together an open call audition in Fresno, California, because I remember Ellen Chenoweth and Jeffrey McLeod, who were both Clint's casting director and casting associate. They asked me, hey, Abel, how well do you know Fresno? We're thinking about casting out of Fresno. I'm like, do I know? I'm from Fresno. I'm all about Fresno. So I took them up to Fresno, and we had like, I think 200 plus people come in for an audition. One of my friend's mom got a part, the family with and she got to play the role of the mom. A buddy of mine who was living out in New York, he got picked to be the gangster that shoots Clint at the end. So
that's cool. You got to bring that opportunity to all these people,
Yeah. So I got them in the movie, and then after the film was done, Jeffrey McLeod, who was Clint's casting associate, he reached back out and he said, hey, Abel, can you get more people for post-production? Because we need some voiceovers and some Walla Walla, but we need people that can speak Hmong. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me ask around. And so then they hired me, my brother, and my dad to go into Warner Brothers to have a full day of ADR. Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Can you hear your voice in the film?
The way it's mixed, I can't tell if it's my voice or not, but then I know the specific scenes, and it's just, I think it's one of the scenes where the gangsters were yelling out in Hmong and like they were cursing, and so like I had to do that.
Okay, so Abel, let's talk about COVID, how that affected the industry and how that affected the movie that you were working on at the time.
Yeah, so with the movie What Lies Below, we were in post-production, we were going to sales, and then COVID hit. We had, I think we had an agreement where we were going to have a limited theatrical, but because of the lockdown, we were pretty bummed out that we were just going to go straight to digital. But what was surprising, that our movie did very well in gross revenue the first 3 months. And I was so surprised, because people were just at home now, and they're stuck at home, and now they're renting. And then we went on Netflix, and I remember I was a little bit bummed out because I think it was during Easter weekend. And I remember going to sleep like, oh yeah, we're dropping on Netflix. It's probably never going to go nowhere. And no one's ever going to see it because it was no marketing behind this. And this is COVID too. So I'm like, whatever. And then I wake up the next morning to my phone just buzzing like crazy. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? I'm like, our movie's at number 3. I'm like, wait, what? Really? So I go on my Netflix account, and it's wow, our movie's at number 3. And then a few hours later, it's number 2. And then by the end of the day, it was number 1. And the next day, it was still number 1. And the next day, it was still number 1. And I was just completely shocked. And so to me, it really caught me by surprise. And now when I look at, making a film and trying to release a film, and then I look at what's happening to our industry right now with the contraction, it's if you're an independent filmmaker, I think you could seize this moment now that studios and networks are slowing down with the production on content. But if you're independent and you can make something really good with no studio attachment and move it fast and get it done, get it made, I think you might have an advantage when it comes to sales and distribution, because no one's making anything right now.
Looking back, why do you think your movie got to number 1?
Oh.
And also, are those ratings real, or is that another conspiracy theory?
That's a good question.
I remember looking at the Nielsen ratings that week too, and we were number 2.
What's that?
The Nielsen ratings. So the Nielsen, they come out with ratings, I think, every month. They give you the data where a show or movie and how many millions of minutes viewed. And we were number 2 in the entire US in terms of streaming movie. We were right underneath, I think it was Melissa McCarthy's Thunder Force. Yeah. She was first. We were number 2. And I was like, wow, that's insane. I don't know how I got there, but it did. We must have done something right. Wow. Again, this is a movie that I put it together just like how I did my first one, but it was with a lot of friends from film school. But what we did differently was we wanted to go after cast that had higher caliber, and so we were glad that we were able to get someone like Mina Suvari in the movie. But I think it's the genre. And going back to, horror, if you make horror or thriller, that's the thing that translates very well across cultures.
And what do you think about people that say, oh, Christians can't make horror? That's crazy.
Well, the thing is this, right? I think when I look at a lot of the Christian content that has been made, I think most Christian content has been made primarily for Christians and not so much as a tool for evangelism. So we're just, feeding the choir. And a lot of the stuff that I see, especially from people who say, oh, you're a Christian, you can't make a horror film. Does that mean you read only certain parts of the Bible? Like when you get to the parts where people are killed or murdered or whatever, like no. Like, no, like it's part of the, it's the Bible explicitly shows us the human condition, the fallen world that we live in. And so when I look at making, horror films, it's like, yeah, it's just shedding light on the horrific, the traumatic things that we go through in life. And I think we shouldn't shy away from that or like, give it praise either, but
show the consequences of sin as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends who are really into that right now with like the Christian horror thing, like Dylan Vibert, my buddy Ryder. Like there's a lot of people that are like talking about this subject, which I find really interesting. Abel, let's talk about another cold email you got. This one's from Disney.
Yeah, so
did you think this was fake too?
I thought it was fake too. I remember, I still remember distinctly. I was sitting outside of a Ralph's. I was going grocery shopping, and I was just so, I was at a place in my life where I was just so bummed out about everything. And I'm like, I don't have the energy to do anything anymore. And then I'm sitting out there in the parking lot waiting for my wife. And then I get this cold email, and I open it up, and it's like, hey, we're Disney. We read your script.
Hey, we're Disney.
Yeah, it's like, that's really what it is. Like, we read your script.
The Nicholl script.
Yeah, I didn't even know. They didn't even say it was a Nicholl script.
Oh, really?
They just said, read your work, love it. We're big fans. Can we get on a Zoom call? And I'm like, what in the world is this? But then I looked at the email, and sure enough, it was, at Disney.com. So I'm like, okay.
Mickey at Disney.com.
Yeah. It was the mouse himself. But I responded and scheduled a Zoom meeting, and sure enough, they had read The Tiger's Child, the Nicholl script that I had written like 10 years ago. And they said, we have this new project for you guys. If you guys are interested, if you guys want to give your own take on it. And we said, sure, send us the manuscript. So it was a novel that they had optioned, and they wanted us, and it had not been published yet. So they sent us the manuscript. We read it. We created an entire pitch document, and we went back and pitched it. And they said, okay, great, love it. All right. And then we signed the deal, and then.
Right. Do you get paid handsomely for that?
Yeah, it was good. I gotta say, like when you work on studio projects, it's not like you working on your own indie stuff, because your own indie stuff, I mean, even though, let's say, like, you're a producer and you're in charge of the finances, you give it away so easily, and you leave so little for yourself, because you really want to shepherd the project, and you really take ownership over the project, that you end up in debt. It's kind of nice to be able to work for a company where you're brought in to do one thing and not have to wear so many hats.
So how does that work? They just say, hey, here's a deadline, here's all the deliverables we need, and this is how much you'll be paid?
Yep. So all that gets negotiated with, between my agents, my attorneys, and business affairs, the legal counsel for Disney. And that gets ironed out.
Well, and talk about getting representation. Yeah, I don't want to give it away, but talk about this.
It's funny because at this time we had no representation. We had gone through 2 agencies already. We had no representation, and Disney said, okay, if you guys don't have any reps, we'll reach out. We'll reach out to people we know to rep you. And so it was funny. So we took a bunch of meetings with a bunch of different agents from different agencies. And I remember praying about this. I'm like, okay, we're not going to do what we did last time, right? We're not going to go for the biggest agency. Or we're only going to go with the agents that believe in us, regardless of the agency, and not look at the big name. And we ended up going with, the agents that we have now over at Buckwald. And I'm so glad that we went with them, because they have been so awesome. I remember that very first meeting with them. They said, guys, we're gonna take you around town. We're gonna make sure everybody knows who you are. And for like the last 2-3 years, we've met with every single company, every studio in town.
Well, and didn't you say it was kind of funny because it was like a little bit of a conflict of interest? Like, why is Disney helping us out with this?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, would they not want us to have that rep so that they could, squeeze us? I don't know. But it was really, really nice of them. Yeah.
And what was that like going around and meeting everybody in town?
Oh, it's great. We had meetings. Oh man, 4 or 5, sometimes 6 meetings a month. So sometimes once or 2 or 3 meetings per week for like 3 years straight. And this is post-COVID, so I think folks in the industry now could take more meetings because everything's on Zoom. So for us, it was very convenient, not having to drive all the way up to Los Angeles or Burbank or wherever just to meet up with people. We could stack our meetings in a day. But it was just great getting to know who the players are and getting, and having them know who we are. And that's led to so many opportunities. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and still to get paid to work on these things, keep developing your craft is incredible as well.
Yeah. And it's, it's been such a blessing that I'm glad that I come from the indie space and I didn't just get thrusted into the studio system because of, where the studio is now, where the industry is now. I'm glad that I still have the skills to be able to put together a movie independently outside the studio system.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what it's leading to as well, like coming up this summer. So talk about the difference of kind of being stuck in that development hell with the studio system and then, wanting to go just make things yourself.
Yeah. So with the studio system, you could get notes from an executive. You execute on those notes and you send it back and you might not hear from them for like 3 months or 6 months or a year. That's crazy. And so, you can't just be waiting on that one project. And the one thing that has been very eye-opening for me is that the studio system is very, very slow compared to the independent space. Because of that, for the last 3 years, I wasn't able to put out anything because I thought, okay, we'll go the studio route. And it's like after 3 years, I'm like, dude, I can't keep doing this. I got to get the next movie off the ground. And that's why I'm putting something together for June. And it's not slow because, they want to be slow, but there's just so much bureaucracy, that you have to go through. It just takes a lot of time. And sometimes, right. You could be waiting on, a project for 2 years and only to know at the end, oh, this thing's fizzling away, or we got to put this in the back burner. Yeah.
Yeah. And so a big part of you wants to just go make it happen yourself.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I love developing, for me, it's like, okay, I'm not going to, wait another 3 or 4 years to be back on set. If I could put together a project myself and do it, hey, why not? What's stopping me?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and so right now we're in March 2025. So what stage is this feature in?
Oh, it's fully casted. Location's already locked. Finessing the script. It should be done by the end of this month.
Sweet.
And I'm looking to shoot in June. 15-day principal, 5 days pickups, and that's it.
What's it called?
I don't have a name for it yet.
Really? You don't have a name for it?
I do, but I don't want to mention it just yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's classified.
This is a film it's based on my family's conversion story. So it's horror. It's still horror, but it's Christian. It's deeply Christian. Unlike any of the horror that I've done in the past.
Are you able to expound on that, or do you need to wait to see the movie?
All I can say is it's high stakes, one location, happens in one night.
Sounds like something demonic is going to happen. Dude, that sounds so exciting, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And do you have distribution already figured out for it?
No, we don't have anybody that's picked it up just yet, but we are quite confident that this movie will get picked up. I have not made a feature that has not gotten distribution. With this one, we know that we can put out a piece of product that is marketable, that has an audience.
Yeah.
And because we know that we can do that, and we know that we could replicate that, we are confident that when it comes time to screening it for buyers, we know that it's going to get picked up.
How did you finance this one?
So this one, so for this one, it's like, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm not going to any outside investments at all whatsoever.
Oh, dang.
And the reason for that is because the content, right? The content of the movie, we want complete control and oversight.
Yeah.
And because there is a really strong Christian message that we want to get across, we don't want to compromise that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah, super looking forward to seeing that and hearing about it as well. Like, I think this is really exciting that you're putting your faith into your film and putting your money where your mouth is as well.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, man. I could tell you that, but
it's going to pay off.
Yeah, it's going to work.
And then, Abel, last question here. What would your advice be for other Christian filmmakers?
Ooh, advice for other Christian filmmakers.
Or encouragement or rebukes.
I would say this. For you Christian filmmakers out there, you're going to hit a place where you just want to quit. And doing what we do, it does seem like it's insanity. I think without God, I would consider this insanity. To try to do this over and over again and to hit roadblock after roadblock, like, it's stupid. It's insane. Like, go do something else. You might be more fruitful, right? But because there is a God and because of Christ, then through him, I believe I could do all things. And because of that, don't quit. Don't stop. Especially an industry that so desperately needs the voice of those who believe. This is what we've been called to do, right? You fight the good fight. Ministry comes in all shapes and forms. Yeah, you might not be called to be a pastor, in the pulpit, but you're called to be a storyteller behind a camera or in front of the camera. And how do you then utilize that all for the glory of God? So if he's already given you gifts, use it. And it's okay if times are difficult, even when it's astronomically difficult, which it will be, because this is filmmaking. This isn't, you're not going into nursing, okay? Or you're not a lawyer, right?
There's no set path.
There's no set path.
Yep.
But precisely because of that, I think allow yourself to be drawn near to the Lord through your suffering. I've come to conclude that, and I talked to my pastor a lot about this, that faith and belief is suffering. like faith equals suffering. And I'm glad that God has been able to make me not just realize that, but to experience it, to walk it.
And he's with us in the suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
That's all.
Cool.
That's all I got.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for your time, Abel and Andrew. And as I said, Abel, like, you've been just such an encouragement to us over the years, and your mentorship's been incredible, and just seeing your journey of faith has been really inspiring. So super glad to record that conversation with you guys today.
Yeah. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, what are you waiting for? Leave a rating/review. 5 stars is a power play. And there's lots more filmmaker chats, metal band interviews, and comedy shows coming soon, so be sure to follow the show and connect with me on social medias at Spencer Whiteout to stay up to date. As always, stay tuned, stay hyped. That's a wrap.
Inserting exclusive audio recording from the vault.
So we're filming at the swimming hole up the trail a little ways. There's this home, and the homeowner's daughter is a friend of one of the people who was working with the film. So we had permission from her to be there for parking and to use the bathroom, make that our little base camp for the day. We parked there and set up and went to shoot, and we came back, and it was a really rough shoot because moving around was so hard because of the terrain, so loud, we couldn't talk very well. So Spencer and Connor and I were kind of debriefing in the back on the patio.
Yeah.
And
talking about, wow, what else could go wrong? This was horrible.
Yeah.
Well, at least we can sit here and enjoy some dinner before we go off for the day.
Yeah, because dinner was going to get delivered there. We were just going to camp out in the garage. And then we see this dad walk up, and I wave at him, I say howdy, and then he immediately gives this killer glare, looks the other way, and
storms
into the goes into the house and slams the screen door behind him. And so I immediately
look at us and you go, that wasn't good.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, and
that doesn't sound good.
So I'm just sitting with Connor and Spencer in silence now, because he's standing at the screen door on the inside, staring at me, and he has his phone to his ear. So I start to get up.
You're 4 feet away. It's not
yeah.
Yeah, you're hey, I can talk to you. And he's standing right across from you. He's just looking at you.
Right. Right. So he's on his phone now, and then I hear him say who the F invited all of these people to my house? Yelling into the phone.
Oh, we're hi, we can talk to you.
Yeah.
We're trying to And he's just ignoring us, like, we're like right in front of him.
Yeah, and this guy is seriously pissed.
Andrew's like, he's like, you might want to tell people to start packing up. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like going to the garage.
You were like, all right, guys, we have a change of plans.
I was like, all right, change of plans. I'm doing this.
Good idea going here. I thought like it was a good thing.
It's bad. And I'm like doing this, like, come on. I'm trying not to like yell too loud, like, pack it up.
And so I'm back at the screen door with him, and he finally steps outside, but continues to talk on the phone to someone else about how pissed he is that we're all here on his property without his permission.
Who invited these people? Around. Who invited you guys?
Yeah. And then finally he hangs up the phone, and he's like, "Who that for you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm here with your daughter gave us permission to film here, and we were just setting up camp, and we had permission to be here. We're just packing up, and we're actually headed out right now." And he like was not having it. He wanted to follow me, and he wanted to go see what was in the garage. And by now, everyone's starting to pack up. I think people finally start to see, oh, something's not right. And he's just kind of being
kept asking who's in charge.
Yeah, and then he approached.
Oh, yeah. So that day we had this really kind old gentleman who just loves flying drones come out to like volunteer for the day, and he says, "I just love flying. I want to fly for free. Let me like work with you guys." He's this jolly old grandpa. Yeah, he's great.
Wait, who else knows him? Someone else knows him.
Nice old
on our set. And I'm like,
Luke Reed knew him.
Yeah, Luke knew him. How do you guys all know him?
Because his wife is one of the secretaries at school.
Oh, okay.
So his name is Titus. Yeah, good guy. We all love him.
Yep.
And so this dad storms up to Titus and is like, "Are you in charge here?"
Are you the senior man in charge here?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, I'm a senior man, but I'm not in charge here."
He's trying to make a joke.
And this guy would not believe that Andrew was in charge.
Yeah.
It was so bad, he just wouldn't listen to him.
Yeah. And so I just step up into his face and I say, "I'm in charge." And like trying to explain that we're all moving out. And so people start moving out. Things are going really fast because everyone sees things are bad.
You're moving my blah, blah, blah.
He just cussed at me and Tyson a lot. Tyson
he cussed at me the most. Bro.
Oh, he did at you too.
Yeah, he did.
Hardcore.
Spencer got the heat.
He did get the heat. That's when it ramped up.
That was because he was like, "So what made you think that you could move all my stuff around?" And we didn't move any of his stuff. Like we just sat down in chairs and moved them so we could see each other. Yeah. Sure, that's it. And then what did you say?
What did I say? I said
your daughter.
You were like, "I'm pretty sure we didn't
move anything," and he was like,
I said,
"Don't BS me." And you're like, "I'm not trying to BS you." And he was like, "Well,
he's like,
do you know where it went?" "I don't think you do."
Yeah, he was just like, "You're BSing me," and he's like, "You don't know where it went, and what stuff did you move, huh? Blah, blah, blah."
Like a couple chairs.
And he's like, "Who gave you permission to film here?" And I'm like, "Classified." And he's like, "That's my effing daughter." He's like cussing about his daughter.
It was terrible.
Really bad.
Terrible.
He's like, "I'm gonna give her an effing mouthful."
Yeah.
That's when I got.
Someone did. Yeah.
That's when you.
Someone did
forward,
send something.
Tyson stepped forward like he was gonna throw down or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mess.
So we have the whole crew surrounding him, and he's just like swearing at everybody.
He was looking up at you too, like he was like kind of short. He was just
Keep in mind, he's also holding the tiniest dog in the world.
Yeah, his little Chihuahua thing. So that's the thing though, because the scene we were filming there was about some guy freaking out and kicking the guys out of the swimming hole.
The actor is so cool too. Like he was like a really nice guy.
It was like the real life Mr. Falickson.
Yeah.
And the last part of the story is that we were all trying to move out. We were getting our gear out as fast as possible.
Alex should.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I should tell him. Oh, what about the garage?
Yeah.
So we're starting to leave, and I'm like packing up everything as fast as I can with DIT, because I had all these computers set up and stuff. And Titus did the same thing, and he's starting to walk out, and he starts to like close the garage doors like on us. So like I got out like fine,
You're like
but
running
Titus
out.
was even like ducking down, like trying to like dodge the door coming down.
Then of course the sensor goes off, so it starts going back up.
At the door, just hitting it over and over, trying to close it on it.
Yeah, he kept trying to close it.
And then everyone's packing up the stuff into the trucks, and he's circling the house like a shark.
Yeah.
He's just walking around, just like, and he's on the phone. Just like, dude.
Well, and then also too, the last part of the story was Mom was on her way to like bring us dinner. We're like,
and we have no service. We have no service. And we're like, get out! Yeah.
We're like, safe, Mrs. White.
And that's it.